Hi, I'm Hongyi Wang, and we have Ruizhou, Li, and Xuecheng all in our group. Today we are going to present our midterm analysis of Blockbuster's commercial failures based on organizational change models and theories. Next page, please. Blockbuster was once the king of the video rental industry with over 9,000 stores worldwide, over 60,000 employees. However, in the early 20s, the company's fortune began to decline rapidly, leading to its eventual bankruptcy and dismiss. The rise of streaming services, digital downloads, and Blockbuster's reluctance to embrace those new technologies ultimately lead to its downfall. Next page, please. So at first, I'm going to talk about Lewin force field analysis. It is a model that helps to identify the forces behind the change in an organization. There are two types of forces, which are driving and restraining forces. Driving forces are considered as forces that facilitate change and push organization to the desired state from its present state. Restraining forces are considered as forces that hinder change and satisfy organization to stay in the present state. Using this model, we can examine the driving and the resisting forces behind Blockbuster's failure to change. Driving forces for Blockbuster technology is the main driving force for leading change in the organization because it provides customers with a convenient experience in watching movies and TV shows. For example, Netflix was using streaming to allow customers to watch movies and TV shows instantly. Globalization is an opportunity for the organization as well. Suppose Blockbuster could transfer to an online platform. It would attract customers from all around the world to expand their customer base. Cost is another driving force. If Blockbuster could get rid of retail stores and become a subscription-based model, it can reduce costs and expand its profit. Content is also vital to a platform in the film industry. By creating and producing original content, Blockbuster was able to be unique and irreplaceable. Restraining forces for Blockbuster. Blockbuster was slow to embrace new technologies and would hesitate to invest in digital platforms. Its business model is the most considerable restraining force because it was based on renting physical DVDs and charging customers late fees. It stopped Blockbuster transfer to an online platform because the company did not want to give up the profit. The resisting forces are stronger than the driving forces in the case of Blockbuster, leading to the company going to bankrupt in 2010. Next page, please. Talking about Lewin's three-step model of change, it involves unfreeze, change, and rephrase. It is a model to examine the process of making changes, which can be applied to understand why Blockbuster failed in organizational change. The first step in the change process is unfreezing the current state. In the case of Blockbuster, the current state was it's dominating in the home video renting market with thousands of retail stores. However, the rise of the internet and the digital platforms disrupted the market. The business model of Blockbuster became outdated. The second step is change. It means the organization should make the necessary change to move from the existing state to the desired new state. In the case of Blockbuster, its desired state is exactly the current state of Netflix today. In order to achieve it, Blockbuster needs to shift their business model from a DVD rental service to a digital streaming service. The company also needs to invest in original content production to create exclusive shows and movies for their platform. The third step is rephrase. It means to make the new state permanent. In this case, Netflix has been successful in rephrasing the new state of a dominant streamer. The company has continued to invest in original content production, such as Squid Game, a Netflix making movie in South Korea that being popular worldwide. In contrast, Blockbuster failed to adapt to the changing market and did not make the necessary changes to move from the existing state to the desired state. Next person, please.
Okay, I will first talk about blocker and button plan change machine. Blockbuster's board of directors believe that they are at the forefront of the industry and that no other company could shake up their position as boss until 2000. It wasn't until Netflix launched its DVD leasing service where email that Blockbuster realized it wasn't exploring enough. When Blockbuster realized the need for technological change, Blockbuster decision makers did not agree on the change. Most board members also rely on the late fee model guaranteed by renting DVD, fearing that they will lose their original business after a technological change. Netflix had a vision to expand into the internet and streaming from its inception, and they had a detailed plan on how to achieve that vision. While making disruptive innovations to the internet and streaming, Netflix had also set up an independent subsidiary to launch its original home media DVD rental service. The establishment of a subsidiary is an embodiment of integration, so that the change of coordinated with the original business unit. Next page, please. After 2000, Blockbuster gradually realized the pressure of competition within the industry, but they cannot from a strong mentoring alliance. The board members are full of conflict of interest. Nor did they create a long-term version to guide Blockbuster through a series of transformational work. Carter's 8-step model writes that this model solves some of the rights issue of real change and emphasizes the need to communicate the vision and maintain communication. Conflict of power have always been an obstacle to change in Blockbuster. Their board have even failed chief executive who are trying to make company more competitive through change. This is a lack of good, effective communication between the board of directors. They even rejected plan to buy Netflix in 2000. All these events eventually led Blockbuster to file for bankruptcy protection with the government. Next page, please. And the last model I will introduce is the Bankard and Harris Change Formulation Organization. According to Cameron and Green, they write that the multiplication implies that if any one factor is 0 or near 0, the product will also be 0 or near 0, and the resistance to change will not be overcome. If a company's vision is not clear or is not satisfied with the current state, or if the plan is unclear, it will lead to a serious reduction in the likelihood of becoming. At the beginning of Netflix, they have clearly defined their vision, and their vision is very clear. So the change plan with it's also very clear. We do not know how satisfied the employees of Netflix are with the state of the company, but from the success of Netflix in the implementation of the plan, we can infer that the whole company is very satisfied with the current state. Or it can be said that Netflix success after success in the initial change plan inspired the whole team to move towards the ultimate vision. Therefore, the whole team has a higher and higher sense of the possibility of change. The whole three aspects constitute a virtual circle, which leads to the collection of three aspects far greater than the cost of the change. Blockbuster, by contrast, make a clear version is the first place. Secondly, the struggle of the board of directors shows that the board of directors is not satisfied with the current state. Finally, because the revolutionary measures taken by Blockbuster are entirely due to positive change caused by the external pressure, the company is not sure of the possibility of change. So the values of three factors in this model are not high enough. So they are unable to overcome the cost of change, which lead to the failure of change. Okay, next person, please.
Okay, then I'm going to talk about the last three series or models that have been mentioned in our class. So first is Sanjay's view. And here's a quote directly from our textbook. And basically what Sanjay believes is that when individuals and companies are on the rise or already in a more successful stage of their careers, it is harder to be aware of changes in the external environment. Hence, they lose their position, indirectly leading to the decline shortly. The following facts are all evidence that Blockbuster has not done an excellent job of organizational change to result in its eventual acquisition. First, Blockbuster failed to recognize the customer's jobs to be done. It assumed the customer wanted to rent physical DVDs from stores while ignoring that they actually wanted to watch movies conveniently and cheaply. And secondly, Blockbuster failed to keep up with technology trends. It did not invest enough in online streaming and subscription services like Hongyi mentioned before, which were more appealing to customers than renting DVDs by mail or from their shop. Thirdly, Blockbuster failed to respond to value chain disruption. It relied on its physical stores and distribution network, which were costly and inefficient compared to digital platforms that could be deliver content directly to customers. And next is William Bridges' transition model. There are three different phases or stages that he mentioned in his series. In the case of Blockbuster, the company's failure to adapt to changing market conditions and embrace new technology can be traced partly to its inability to manage changes in motion and psychological aspects effectively. So in the first phrase, ending phrase, for Blockbuster, they meant recognizing that the traditional video renting business model was becoming obsolete in face of emerging digital technologies. But the company was slow to accept this reality, clinging to its outdated business model and failing to recognize its needs for change. And in the second stage, the neutral zone. For Blockbuster, this transition period was characterized by uncertainty and instability as the company struggled to adapt its operation to the changing market conditions. The emergence of streaming service like Netflix posed a significant threat to Blockbuster's business model. but the company was slow to embrace new technologies and adapt its operation. As a result, Blockbuster was left in a stage of limbo, unable to navigate the transition process effectively. And in terms of the third stage, the new beginning, unfortunately, Blockbuster could not even reach this stage, as its failure to adapt led to its eventual bankruptcy and demise. The company's inability to effectively manage the emotional and psychological aspects of change was the critical factors in this failure. Blockbuster could not stay relevant in rapidly evolving market by failing to recognize and accept the need for change. And the last series based on Neil's 4 key roles for successful change. So there are 4 critical roles. There are sponsor, implementer, change agent, and advocate. So regarding sponsors, Blockbuster did not have a sponsor who could recognize the need for change and support new initiative. Instead, it was too focused on its outdated revenue model, which relied heavily on late fee for customers. It also rejected an offer to buy Netflix in 2000, which could have given a competitive edge in the online streaming market. And for implementer, Blockbuster did not have an implementer as well who could execute new strategies and business model. As a result, it was slow to respond to the changing customers' preferences and market trends. It eventually tried to copy Netflix DVD by mail services and Redbox rental shop model, but and also online streaming services as well, but it was too late and costly. In terms of change agent, Blockbuster did not have engine who could facilitate learning and feedback loops. It failed to collect and analyze data on customers' behavior and preferences. It also failed to innovate and experiment with new offering and features. It was stuck in its old business ways and lost touch with the customers. And lastly, in the case of an advocate, Blockbuster did not have advocates who could communicate the need for change and inspire others. As a result, it failed to create compelling vision and value propositions for its customers and employees. It also faced resistance from its franchises who were reluctant and adopt new technologies and practices. And in conclusion, Blockbuster's failure highlights the critical importance of an organizational change in terms of shifting market conditions and emerging technologies. The company's inability to adapt to changing customers' preferences and embrace new technologies ultimately led to its demise. By failing to implement effective change management strategies, Blockbuster could not transform its business model and stay relevant in a rapid evolving market. And pretty much that's all for our presentation. Thanks for your patience. And here's the reference list.